Isn't that... Talk about a surprise, Oni. Indeed. I never thought I would see you here, Mr. Holmes. No wonder he didn't respond when I called him. I guess he must have found out about this before the rest of us. Hey, great dyslactive. What do you think you're doing over there instead of helping me out back here? What am I doing here, you ask? I'm afraid I must give you two contradictory answers. I'm doing exactly what I always do, and I'm doing something I can't usually do. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm afraid that I've never been very good at solving riddles. That goes for puzzle games as well. There's just something irritating about a game where you cannot win by skewering your opponents. Don't worry about it, that's just Holmes being Holmes. Well now, it seems my habits have unwittingly claimed another victim. Please pay no mind, my lady. I assure you, it's not as difficult a riddle as it may seem. But the first answer is, of course, solving riddles. It would seem that I am something of a riddle-solving Oni. Riddles? Then do you mean you've already unraveled the mystery of this incident, Lord Holmes? You know what it is Shuten and Ibaraki Doji mean to accomplish with this tower? Naturally. And so as not to break with tradition, I shall refrain from sharing the answer. You're a gamer, so I imagine you'll understand my reasoning. It would be the height of boorishness to reveal a game's secrets so early on. Ah, you mean like when people go around posting spoilers? Of course I'm familiar with that. Those scoundrels who so callously reveal the last boss's names are by far the worst than any wicked demon. Indeed, just the other day I stuffed Lord Blackbeard into a barrel and infernoed it after he told me that the heroine is the true last boss of the game I'm currently playing. Well, first of all, don't call him Lord Blackbeard. He's a turd, not a lord. Yeah, I can totally see that happening. Good, take out the trash. This is why I've chosen to remain silent on this matter. Furthermore, this time, I'm not here to be at anyone's behest. Given that this is a highly personal case, I decided that I was entitled to act for my own reasons as well. Specifically, this reason. Delicious. Indeed, the only complaint I can make about Chaldea would be its limited assortment of wines. Servant though I may be, I still enjoy a good Bordeaux or Tokay from time to time. Of course, strictly speaking, this is not the genuine article, but it is quite a credible reproduction. Doubtless, it is a result of such an avid drinker tapping into an abundant magical energy source. So let me make sure I have this straight, Mr. Holmes. Based on everything you told us, Lord Holmes, do you mean that you agreed to guard this floor in exchange for your favorite brand of alcohol? Ah, right you are. Well, looks like you don't have to worry about holding back now, Gabriel. In fact, I got a special mission for you on this floor and this floor only. Beat the hell out of that lazy wino and drag him back here, preferably kicking and screaming. Understood. I'm greatly relieved to see that this will be a test of my strength rather than wits. Come, master. Oh well, I suppose break time is over. Farewell, my beloved Tokai. That's it. Get your lazy butt back home. You got lots of work waiting here for you. Not to mention that all those things you still have to do, you still have to investigate, right? Yeah, there are few things in the world more dull than background checks, all without an ounce of mystery. Nonetheless, as now a former guard, I will tell you just a bit about this tower before we part ways. In brief, this will not escalate into a major crisis. On that much you have my word. You'll find that the guards past this point are thinking things along the lines of, hey, this is more like a vacation than guard duty. So, some more than others, of course. That said, this tower is unlikely to disappear until someone makes the trek up to the top floor. So your task remains unchanged, Mr. Gabriel. Continue climbing this tower at your own pace, and you will eventually reach the top floor. That is the name of the game, as it were. Now then, before we go our separate ways, would you mind if I asked you something? When Miss Da Vinci told me to return, why did she point towards the window rather than a staircase? Surely you don't mean... Why, because she entrusted me with this. A high-speed ground-level return kit. I was afraid of that. I presume that you mean this wonderfully cheap, simply made rope? That's right. It's just a plain old rope. I knew you would catch on rather quickly, oh great detective. I hope you die. It's just a bungee cord. It's just a bungee jump cord. None. It's a cutting-edge return kit with a built-in automatic elevation adjustment. Sure, it may bounce you a few times more than could be considered necessary or safe, but hey, even a genius has to get her kick somewhere. And just watch out that you don't slam into the building when you bounce. It'd be a waste of a good rope if it ended up snapping. Well then, if you'll excuse me, I think I shall employ the nearest staircase for a leisurely trip home. I should mention that had the general there tie a rope to the target before he can notice. There, all done. In war, as in FPS games, the most effective strike is the one when your opponent never sees coming. Now, go on, Lord Holmes. Very well. No true gentleman would flinch at such a thing. Besides, this jump is nothing compared to the falls at Reichenbach. Well, on second thought, I only survived that by using the professor as a cushion. I'm not certain I like my chances here without having any... Ah! Ha! This water is great. I have a hot spring Noel phantasm myself, but these Japanese hot springs are really nice too. Having a bath out in the middle of nature instead of an ostentatious... How do you pronounce that word? Ostentatious building is such a nice change of pace. It's so elegant. Good point. It's a lot like the Macedonian baths in some ways, and very different in others. Fascinating. The occasional break would not be so bad if we were meant to get experiences like this. Really, it's just nice to get the experience with new things. Speaking of fresh, King of Macedonia, now that I see you up close, I realize that you're much more muscular than I thought. Well, sure, I do train every day, you know. If anything, I find you impressive, King of Kosala. With that build of yours, I have no trouble believing the tales that are sung about your heroic exploits. Naturally, I was able to take Sita back, but I will need to do so again. That is why, if there's a test of strength to be completed, a chance to push myself even further, I will never let it pass me by. All the more if my opponents are kings themselves. As such, I propose a round of arm wrestling. What do you say? Oh, sure, that's fine with me. Sounds like fun, but I think I'll pass. I'm more into literature than combat. Speaking of literature, what are you doing off on your own over there? Are you an idiot or just a sadist? On second thought, don't bother answering. It's obviously the latter. I'm not so stupid a writer that I'd actually go out in public. I'm well aware that where I belong in society. Besides, all you kings ever talk about is the same things over and over again. I swear, have none of you ever heard the word cliched before? So don't worry about me. Just pretend I'm not here, and give me something I can work with. You guys might be walking cliches, but at least you've refined those cliches to an art by now. Between all your mediocre adventure stories, there ought to be at least one idea I can use. You really are a consummate author, even when you're insulting us, Mr. Anderson. I'm not even sure that my grown-up self could change you or your principles. It'd be a dream come true if you and the other great playwright ever collaborate on something. Since he loves himself as much as you hate yourself, I'm sure that whatever you came up with would be... Are you always like this, or has the heat gotten to your head? You couldn't make me collaborate with him for all the gold pieces in the world. Wait, didn't you two fight side by side back during Shinjuku, or am I remembering that incorrectly? Just imagine what would happen if we tried writing a story with the same theme. The book will be split right down the spine. Alright, sorry about that. I should have known that you'd never go for something you really wanted. I admire your restraint. You really are an idiot. I couldn't possibly care less about collaborating with him. If we ever did really write two halves of the same book, we'd only end up arguing over who deserved the greatest share of the royalties. Good point. That is a major problem for authors, isn't it? You know, you seem to be in even worse mood than usual, Mr. Anderson. Do you not care for hot springs? I like lounging about naked after a bath just fine, but no, I don't find hot springs to be especially enjoyable. To begin with, I'm not in the habit of taking off my clothes around others, but you never know it from all those fools make about how good hot springs are for the creative process. So let's get something straight. The idea that bathing in a hot spring will make your manuscript write itself is, at best, a myth. If you're going to push an author into a hot spring thinking he'll emerge with a manuscript, you might as well give a bunch of monkeys typewriters instead. You'll get the same result either way. Relaxation, stress relief, soothing aching writing hands and shoulders. Fools. Do you think that we use nothing more than our arms and heads to write manuscripts? What's more, we are forced to sell our works at cut-rate prices. We've never been anything more than slaves to our pens and publishers. I can't even count how many times I've written something down only to wonder what I was thinking. Okay, I believe that makes 2 out of 3. Hold it, that one didn't count. My Brahmastra slipped. I demand a rematch. Fine with me, of course. We should make it the best. Should we make it the best out of 5 then? That way we can keep going even longer. Ha, this is nice. So many different servants, each with their own pasts and their own ways of living. The differences are even apparent in how much they enjoy hot springs. And since the ones here now are so close to physical age, the ways they differ must stand out even more. Watching them from a distance like this might be the most luxurious way to enjoy it. That's a super shady smile if I've ever seen one. You better not be plotting something again. Yeah, I was about to say, Amakusa, why are you in the kids' bath? Unless that was a Catholic priest joke.